Hello and welcome to Restoring Self, a masterclass on self-healing. Today we're going to focus on 3 simple principles that you can use in order to establish health sovereignty. So jumping right in, I just want to start with who I am. My name is Carice Laguerre, and I am a myofunctional airway specialist. I'm also a certified Reiki master. I'm a mother of 4, a loving wife of 1, and really my whole journey into health and wellness began with my own personal struggles. And isn't that the same for so many of us? Like you're here for a reason. There's a purpose and there's a reason why you were brought in here. And for me, mine really was, there was so much daily struggle where no matter how big the smile on my face, no matter how much I put on that friendly, facade, there was so much suffering within. Those morning headaches, I always had those positional headaches where, I would turn a certain way and it would pound and throb and be terrible every morning. I would wake up with a lot of postnasal drip. My whole day would be consistent upon a lot of congestion and nasal problems. From the time I was 21, I had my first bout of pneumonia. And ever since then, I've had lots of issues with chest pains and so forth. And many of these struggles were not exclusive to me. I mean, between myself and family and friends, I knew many people who were struggling. In fact, if we take a look at my immediate family, myself, my husband, my 4 kids, we all had very similar issues, whether it was my son with his ADHD, my daughters with their sleep issues or their constant sore throats and the ear infections that they would have. And it's constant. We were always at the pediatrician. We lived at the pediatrician, it seemed. There was like no end to any of this. And with my husband, he had a serious bout with diabetes and was on medication, high blood pressure, and we struggled. I mean, as a family, we were not well. And with all of my trainings and even with my background in health, and it was a problem for us to maintain all of the changes that I was able to gather for us. So it's kind of similar to when I'm working with a client, everybody's wonderful. You're doing amazing towards the end of your treatment and everything is good until the next session. It's temporarily sustainable. None of it ever holds. I mean, if you figure all of these treatments that we do, whether it was me or my children, and we're going to see primary health physicians, or we're going to see specialists, or we're going to, do different various holistic and alternative methods. Everything was really good until it's time for your next fix, right? Until it's time to go back again, to get something else adjusted, to modify something else, to remove something else out of your diet, to take something else out of your life, to make you a little more whole until the next time. All of these things really don't hold very well. Traditional medicine just has been failing us. And I mean, even though I was helping hundreds of families overcome various issues, none of this would sustain long time. And I would see that with my own family as well, that we were not sustaining any of these things. We needed to be constantly on top of all aspects of our lives. And so while I do want to know you, I definitely want to show you, and I absolutely want to grow you through all of these things. I have zero desires to own you. I want to remove those chains and get you to a point where you can be self-sovereign, get you to a point where I have taken many of my clients today now, where we are now in a new phase of healthcare, where we're no longer dependent upon many of these specialists or treatments or artificial ways of maintaining the health that we have a natural right to. So I don't want to own you. I don't want you to be stuck to me and having to come back to me and we're working together for a year or months or years. We really want to establish that you're going to be totally self-sustained. And how do we know that we can get to this? Well, if you think about it, we are honestly a beautiful blend of nature and nurture. And that's a science called epigenetics. In epigenetics, It doesn't matter what you do, and it doesn't matter what your genes are. It's going to blend in order to give you what you need to survive, right? So the things we have to consider is that there are people around the world who live entirely different lives, right? And those may even be some of our ancestors, or they may be people who are living today in different tribes and areas of the world, like the Moken people in Southeast Asia. Their children from childhood. Okay, they have now evolved their human bodies from childhood to where they have children, and the children are able to dive into the ocean because they live in Southeast Asia, right on the water, and they're able to dive into the ocean and fish without any sort of gear. Their pupils are totally different from those of your and my offspring today, where we couldn't evolve that. That's not going to evolve in, a generation or two or three or four. So what we have to think about is, well, if evolution is going to take that long, if evolution is a process that does take hundreds of years in order to establish these things, this is a tribe of people who have been living this way ancestrally for thousands of years, probably. We have to take a look at what we are doing as a people now, because the way that life was even just 100 years ago, before technology, before everything that we had, it was nothing like the world we're living in today. Many of us live off of these screens. We have to take a look at evolution and what could have evolved between then and now, because if you take a look at our human bodies, modernization with technology, there's been such an increase with industry and technology that has correlated directly with the rates of increase in many diseases and disorders. You took a look at ADHD, whether it be diabetes, autism, depression, anxiety. So many things are on the rise. Things that our modern diets of processed food, our modern lifestyles, sedentary mostly. We're almost living in real world WALL-E, right? Where we are exposed to so much more radiation. If you want to talk about radiations with x-rays and CAT scans and MRIs, we got to take a look at the natural radiation fields that are actually around us right now. Like every household at this point in time has just about six devices that are all connected to something. And whether it's just Wi-Fi radiating your whole house to keep those things connected to the outside world, we are exposed to so many things that our bodies have not evolved to progress to. So we're going to take a step back from all of the gloom and doom, and we're going to start looking forward towards 3 simple habits you can master to get your health where it needs to be. 1, you need to get rooted, okay? So you're going to connect to your biological roots. Who are your ancestral roots from? I know that my ancestral roots come back. If we're going to go back far enough, it'll probably come from West Africa. But if we're going back just 2 or 3 generations, my whole family line is in the Caribbean. So how do they live? What kind of foods do they eat? This is what my body is really tempered for. My parents came over here in their late 20s, early 30s, and they were grown and raised on these things. So their offspring is supposed to be dependent upon these things. I have their genes inside of me. Where are your genes rooting you to? How do you reconnect to that? How do you connect with the earth? You know, we are one of the only species on this planet that do not connect with the earth at all. You have even the birds that soar through the sky. They come down and they land and they connect with the earth. It's important for us to get barefoot to connect and to really ground ourselves in, because the earth has its own magnetic frequency that is positive and will actually help to recharge your body. This is something that is really good that we need to consider. How do we connect with our body? How do you move and align to really maintain and sustain all of the bone structure, the muscle? This is going well beyond just going to the gym once or twice a week. We're talking about really digging deep to connect in with your body. Step 2, you've got to be responsible. You've got to manage your energy fields, just like we were talking about with all of the magnetic fields, with the Wi-Fi and the devices. How do we manage these energy fields with grounding and connecting to the earth? How do we manage these fields to balance positive positive and negative so that you don't have to change your life entirely. You can take those small steps. You manage your exposure to these things. You manage your environment. Where you live makes a big difference. Are you in a big city? Are you prone and susceptible to 5G and bigger networks of radiation that someone maybe in the middle of North Dakota doesn't have these problems? Resourcing. We have to gather all the information. This is our final step. We need all of that information, our tools, and we need to gather a source of support. We cannot do it alone. There's very little that we as people can do alone. We are a society of people that crave connection. How are you going to get that support so that you're not doing these on your own? You have to get rooted, you have to be responsible, and you have to be resourceful. These are just 3 simple steps to master your health. And I have to ask now, why be dependent when you can be independent? When it comes to your health, wouldn't it be better to be independent, self-sovereign, self-sustaining, than to be dependent and spending more time, more energy, more of your life source just pouring into the medical community? What's next from here? Well, you can take this information and you do absolutely nothing with it. You can say, you know what? Forget this, not going to do anything with it. Or you can try to do it alone. You can try to Google and, see if you can be as resourceful as you can and get as much of the information on your own. I know it took me a few years to gather everything that I needed to do to get myself to health sovereignty. So it is possible. However, the path of least resistance is definitely to take the next step and to book your clarity consultation. During this hour and a half that we're going to spend together, it's fully personalized, custom plan for your specific concerns. How do we get you rooted? How do we get you back into a position where you are in control of your health? Because ultimately we want that for you. We want you to have your sovereignty, your ultimate potential just unleashed. We would love to give you guidance on how to implement all of these things now to get results. And you're going to get a full set of professional recommendations regarding ways to help subsequent House members also achieve sovereignty, because it's not just about you. If I didn't win and help to achieve my self-health, if I didn't get my husband health, if I didn't get my children health, trust me, there's no winning. So during our clarity consultation, you're getting not only steps for yourself, but steps for your family, because that's important to me. And I know it's important to you that we get everybody on board. We're not happy if our family's not happy. I know that. That's full on. So whether you have children or not, this is the right step for you. And it's a path of least resistance, because I'm going to guide you all the way through so that we can restore yourself and fulfill your potential. A very select few at the end of the clarity consultation, because I am very selective. Not everybody is good for my 90-day program. They would get even more one-on-one support with me, where we do movement principles, custom cleanses, breath work, chakra balancing, mindset training, and we're really working to restore your full self and potential. We're getting you to optimal health. This is the ultimate guidance program. So don't wait, don't delay. Click the link underneath this video and schedule your clarity consultation today. I'm telling you, you won't regret it. Health sovereignty is right at the end of this ride. You're going to be so happy to meet the best you at the other end of this. Thank you for listening to the masterclass. I can't wait to see you during the clarity consultation. Bye.